Alrighty, everyone, welcome back. So, we continue our prospect pool overviews today with the Arizona Coyotes. Apologies for not getting these out as often as I wanted to this past week. It's been kind of busy. School comes first. That's one thing I've been lacking in the past couple of years, but I want to do that for my junior year. But regardless, the Coyotes prospect pool is interesting because it is a pool that obviously, they've been developing this for the past couple of years. They've been rebuilding, and some of the guys have already graduated, like Matthias Micheli, Dylan Gunther, Jack McBain, some of the guys that, were already in the system and were drafted that were part of this rebuild have already made their debuts to the NHL and are no longer prospects. However, they still have a pretty deep prospect pool, and they aren't expected to be a playoff team next year or this coming year, so it's expected to continue. It really is. So we'll start off with the biggest one, and he won't be a prospect next year when we do this again. It's Logan Cooley. Cooley is a center from Pittsburgh, USA. He's 5'10", 174 pounds. Obviously, this guy's been profiled as, one of the better prospects in the league. I would say he's probably top five. Top five best prospect in the NHL as of right now. I look at the prospects. I think he's one of the best. I really do. I think he's definitely up there. Drafted third overall in 2022. There was some question whether or not he was going to sign with Arizona, but obviously he ended up doing so thank God for that. But in 39 games played this past year with the University of Minnesota, he had 22 goals, 38 assists for 60 points, not 68 points. He's listed as being one of the best playmaking prospects in the world. And that is insane. So Cooley, definitely a guy there that, looking at that 22 draft, you got Slavkovsky, you got Nemec, you got guys, a lot of those guys haven't made debuts to the NHL just yet. Cooley could honestly be the best player of that draft class when we're looking at it right now. And I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with Arizona, even though this could be his first and last season playing in the city of Arizona. Maybe not with the organization, but that's a whole other story. Next up, then, we got Danil Boots. Boots is a left wing from Yaroslavl, Russia. 6'5", 203 pounds. And one thing that I've noticed with the Coyotes prospects, and for those who don't know, the Coyotes are my second favorite team. We're getting a lot of size in the prospects. A lot of these guys 6'3" and higher. Besides Cooley, we got some very tall people in the system, and that's good to have. You want to be a big brute powerhouse team, and definitely getting guys that are of high size but still have good skill is definitely interesting. So they took Boot over Zach Benson in the draft, and that was a thing that obviously when it happened, I voiced my concern. I didn't really like it. But now that I've taken the time to research, learn more about, the prospects and such, I like it a little bit more, but I'm not entirely too sure if it was the right move. But regardless, Danil Bud, a left wing from Yaroslavl, Russia, 6'5", 203 pounds, won the Hlinka Gretzky Gold in 21-22. I may have already said the first stuff, but regardless, he won the Hlinka Gretzky Gold. Good experience there. Drafted 12th overall in 2023, as I mentioned, and in 26 games played with the Loko Yaroslavl, which is the KHL. He had 15 goals, 11 assists for 26 points. He's a pass first playmaking mentality, built for hard areas. So a guy that has size above everyone else. Being 6'5", you're going to be taller than most players. You're going to be very agile. You can move the puck well. The only issue is speed, but I don't really think that should be a problem with Boot. Definitely a guy that is going to bring some good physical presence and can win those 50-50 battles that sometimes the Coyotes just can't seem to win. I'll definitely admit that. Next up, then you have Connor Geekie, another really solid center. He's from Strathclyde, Canada, 6'3", 194 pounds. Again, got some good size to him. Drafted 11th overall in 2022. I liked him as a pick. I thought it was a little bit interesting. We were going with two centers in that draft, but hey, we'll see how Connor Geekie can do. In 66 games played this past year with the Winnipeg Ice, he had 35 goals, 42 assists for 77 points. He's listed as being mistake-free, great combo of size and skill versatility. So definitely a nice player to have there. You want the versatility for sure. I still think he needs a little bit more time. I don't know if he's going to make his debut with the Arizona system this year. He might spend another year in Wenchiki or whatever it's called, where the Ice relocated to. But, he probably will spend another year either in the AHL or with in the WHL. But regardless, Geekie looking like a solid, could be potential to be a third line center. I don't know. Like, you got Barrett Hayton, you got Logan Cooley, and you got Connor, Geeky. So it's going to be interesting to see there what they're going to do. But yeah, that's your forward prospects. I like it a lot. Next up, then, and the defense has been a heavily criticized thing in Arizona. And being a fan since 2018, I've seen the blue line change so many times. Especially that first year in 2021 when all the guys left. It was weirdly emotional for me. And then this year we saw more changes. We brought in Matt Dumba. We brought in Sean Dursey. We returned some more guys like Troy Stetcher and such. So the blue line's been through a lot, and definitely some of these prospects are going to help it out for sure. You got Dmitry Simashev, who's a defenseman from Kostroma, Russia, 6'4", 201 pounds, drafted 6th overall in 2023. And actually, the ironic thing is, him and Danil Boot actually play on the same team together. So you want that chemistry. That's definitely a good thing to have for sure. You want chemistry within your players, and I think that's going to work out, especially since 2 of those guys are Russian. Coming in, once they eventually come, they're a ways away, but once they eventually come to Arizona and come to the organization, it's going to be weird with a lot of English-speaking players. It's good to have the 2 of them together for sure. And then 29 games played this past year, he had 1 goal, 9 assists for 10 points. Listed as being a beautiful skating stride, but he's going to need time. It's going to take him a little bit. Same with Boot. I don't expect them to come over for at least another year, at least 2 more years. I'm not as worried about that. But yeah, hopefully those 2 guys, mainly Simashev, will pan out to be a great defender because they definitely need it. Next up, then you have Maverick Lamoureux. Lamoureux, one of my favorites. Defenseman from Hawkesbury, Canada, 6'7", 798 pounds. Drafted 29th overall in 2022. It was looked at as a stretch when it was originally a draft pick, but I don't really hate it anymore. 35 games played this past year with the Voltigeurs. He had 5 goals, 14 assists for 19 points. Listed as having good vision, physicality, and obviously he's going to need time as well, which I'm not against. Give him as much time as he wants. We are going to be better this year, but we aren't expected to be a contender this coming year. I'd say at least another 2 more years before we start looking at, hey, maybe we should start pushing for a playoff spot. But right now, it's not a worry. Definitely not. Next up then, and for your goalie prospect, you have Michael Hrabal. And this guy has been mentioned a lot as being one of the next best goalies. Even though it is early on. He's going to need a lot of time. I'm telling you that right now. He was drafted this past year. He's going to need a lot of time. A goalie from Praha, Czechia, 6'6", 209 pounds, drafted 38th overall in 2023, as I mentioned, so he's going to need time. Goalies take forever to develop, so I would say we probably have another 4 years before we even see him get cusps of the NHL. So, yeah. In 31 games played this past year with the Omaha Lancers, he had a 9-13-7 record, a 2.86 goals against average, and a .908 save percentage. Obviously, Omaha was not a very good roster. They weren't a good team. So, Hrabal actually made them look better from what I've seen, and goalies that can do that go a long way for sure. He creates a shadow in the crease with a 6'6" stance, and he's far from the NHL, as I mentioned. We're probably, for the next 4 years when we make these videos, we're just going to keep giving updates on Hrabal every single season. So basically, expect him to be in the Arizona prospect pool overviews for a pretty long time to come, if we're being honest. But yeah, Hrabal, I mean, it's early on, so we'll find out, but obviously we'll see. And again, I want to go back to the size. Hrabal, 6'6", he's a goalie. Lamoureux, 6'7", he's a defenseman. Simashev, 6'4", defenseman. Geeky, 6'3", forward. Boot, 6'5", forward, and then they have Cooley there at 5'10". So those guys have some size to them. The average NHL size is 6 foot or 6'1", and these guys all tower over it except for Cooley. So definitely something to keep in mind there for sure. Other prospects that are in the pool, though, go as follows. You got defenseman Artem Duda, forward Ilya Fedotov, forward Julian Lutz, and forward Josh Doan as well. So yeah, that is your prospect pool overview for the Arizona Coyotes. Thank you all for watching. If I remember correctly, we have the Calgary Flames up next, so that'll be either tomorrow or in a few more days. I haven't decided what we're going to do tomorrow yet, but probably a pool overview. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.